Meteorologist Tuttle here. For years, I've been recommending Ferguson Roof Systems to homeowners across Oklahoma. So when Mother Nature struck my house, it was an easy call to make. There's no one I would trust more than Ferguson Roof Systems for my home's roof. Since 1977, Ferguson has led the industry with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating and lifetime warranties. Plus, they'll even deal with the insurance companies so you don't have to. So when Mother Nature strikes, make your first call to Ferguson Roof Systems.
Hey everyone, Meteorologist Tuttle back with you again. It is about 10 minutes till 10. A little late tonight. Did a show earlier with Jody for Team Total Realty. So got to eat after that and then load everything up here. So I have not really had a good chance to look at the data. So I have to look at it on the fly, which is fine. It shouldn't change a whole lot from what we talked about earlier today. We'll see where the storm system is at, how much more snow we're going to get, all that kind of stuff. So thanks for joining me. Make sure you like and share the video and all the content platforms that you're on, if it's Facebook, if it's Twitter, if it's YouTube, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram Live, whatever it may be. Make sure you join those respective channels as well so you get notified when I do go live to talk about the storms. So let's take a look what's happening out there currently. We do have some snow. It's amazing how bright it looks outside when you do have snow on the ground. I mean, it almost looks like daylight. It's crazy, huh? But yeah, so this is here, of course, my rooftop looking over the neighborhood, and you can see obviously some snow-covered roofs and roadways and some grassways as well. So it looks like the streets here, the sidewalks, have become snow-covered from earlier when I did broadcast around noon. I'm at 28 degrees, looks like 28.9, so I've cooled down quite a bit here in my backyard. Okay, so let's take a look here at the latest. We'll look at the radar view here. And what you see, the numbers, those are temperatures. So you will see on the screen a little batch of snow out here. This is the wraparound. This will be the back end of the system. We still have some light snow here that continues across central Oklahoma, and the heavier snow in the darker blue shading across east central and then eastern Oklahoma on into Arkansas. So around Tulsa southward, kind of getting some of the heavier snow. If you look up here in northwest Oklahoma, just real quick here, so Woodward looks like 2.5 inches, Alva about 4.5 inches, close to 5 inches on the state border. Into Kansas, 7 inches across the border into Kansas. How about that? There's 3.5. Medicine Lodge coming around 4. So some good snows up here across southwest Kansas and northwest Oklahoma. Here in Enid, just about 2.3 inches. That's not too shabby. Our Kansas City, 1 inch. Looks like, who else? We got Sumner. They're about 2.3 there, just on the border in Kansas. Back here, let's see, closer to home, Perkins, 4.5 inches. How about that? 2.3 in Arcadia. Looks like the Village checked in at 3, if I read that right. 2, there it is. Bethany coming in at 3. Let's see, who else we have? We have southwest Oklahoma City's at 3 inches. On the south side of town around Newcastle, we got a 4-inch total there. 3 inch in Tuttle. Blanchard's coming in around 4. Norman, you guys, 4.5. 4. Here we go. 5 in Norman, 5.3. Let's see, another 3.4 down here. A 6-inch in Goldsby. And in Washington, let's see, the 4-inch there. So some good snows going on in south central Oklahoma. Down to Pauls Valley, 5 inches of snow. Who else we got? Sulphur, you guys are at 8.5. Are you kidding me? Woo! All right, winter chicken dinner. What do we got in Ardmore? 7.5. West side, 6. Southeast side of you, 5. Out here toward Cornish, there's a 6.3 across the border in Texas. There's a 6.3 in Nakona. What else we got out here in southwest Oklahoma? Duncan, you guys are 3.5. Lawton, 2.5. Medicine Park, 4. How about them apples? Up here into Willow, about 3 inches around Mangum. And then out here in the panhandle of Texas, looks like there's 2.5 there. Pampa coming in about 5. Amarillo, close to 8 inches of snow for you guys. That's some good snows. Let's go back east. Who else we got? McAllister, 8 inches of snow. Oh my goodness. Wilburton, 6 inches. What do we got? Poto, you guys are at 5. Chakota, 5. Henrietta, 6. Muskogee, 4.5. Tulsa, what about you? Claremore, there's 2. East side of Tulsa, 2.5 looks like. Also on the southeast side, Broken Arrow, there's 3.5 just about. So about 2 to 3 inches there around the Tulsa area. And then northwest of Tulsa, 2.5 in Hominy. And I think that's going to do it here across the body of the state. There's Coffeyville, Kansas at 1.5 inches of snow. All right, out here in Fort Smith, take a quick peek at you guys. So far, 4 inches of snow, some pretty good snows. East of there, another 2. There's another 2, and there's another 3. So, of course, Arkansas started late in the event. There's 1 up there in Strickler. Okay, so that's what's happening up to our east and to our west. And, of course, we've had some icy accumulations down here across the southern parts of Arkansas. They've gotten a mixture of rain, freezing rain, and some sleet. Let's see, Texarkana, there's a little bit of a report there. This is 1/10 of an inch of some ice accumulation. All right, let's go back here to Texas. By the way, southeast Oklahoma, I'll get you guys real quick. Glover, 6 inches. McCurtain County, there's 4.5 there as well. And about 1/10 of an inch of ice underneath that mess. All right, so Bonham is around 6 inches of snow here in North Texas. What we got? Mount Pleasant. What'd you guys have up here? Probably 1/10 of an inch. Light grays of ice, just about 1/100th or so. 0.3 inches of sleet snow reported. It's not very much there for Emory. All right, let's go over here. Let's go to North Texas, Gainesville, 7 inches of snow. Grayson. We got Collinsville. There's 4.5. That's decent. Now, earlier in the day, we had some, 4 inches of snow here on the north side of Dallas, around Denton. Now, we haven't had any new reports come in since then, so I don't know what we can do to add to that. I don't see any reports coming in here so far across the metro, because I'm assuming you guys had a lot of rain and sleet mixed in, not much in the way of snow, therefore it didn't accumulate anything. But, as you will notice, right here, this little blue line that we talked about earlier in the day, it is working its way to the east and to the south. So in other words, we're trying to cool you down here to get you transition over to all snow. You can see these little reports right here, mixture of rain and snow, ice pellets and snow, and this is all snow graupel. So you see the white, this is going to be all snow here, so that's good news. That means if you guys are wanting to snow, it is transitioning and it is coming in, so you will get that slow transition across the DFW here soon to get you some more snow. Let's see, back here in Granbury, also seeing some snow there, just a cold rain south of you. That's about it. So you guys right here on the borderline of about 30 to 32 degrees there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But again, your big snow wasn't supposed to come until this evening and overnight where you can actually measure it because of the conditions we talked about earlier. All right, west of you, there's 4 inches. Let's see, what does that one show? It's not coming in. 5 inches underneath there, okay. Upper in Wichita Falls, 4 inches. What else we got? Yeah, 4 inches. Okay, so some good snows. So there's a little round robin, what's happening out there currently with the precipitation, and everything, of course, is moving from west to east. All right, so that is a round robin of all the action. Now, if you look at road state conditions, obviously you had a period where the roads kind of get a little treacherous, right? And then there's a period where the ground temperatures and the heat from the road eventually wins out and starts to melt it back again. So if you look across Oklahoma, you can't see a lot of orange on these roadways. It indicates slow going. Here's a plow, which indicates, still got some snow on the ground in this particular case. So you can click this map anytime. This is at my website, AaronTotalWeather.com. Just search that whole name together, and you can go to the weather data tab, and then on there is multi-state road conditions. You can do this on your app on your phone, on my weather app, AT's Weather to Go, or you can also do it on your computer. And here in the metro, we had some snow-covered roads earlier, but it looks like they're slushy now, and a little bit better cleared off on the bridges and overpasses. But obviously, there's not really much traffic out there. Things are very quiet, as you can assume. And so it's not nearly as bad as it was earlier today. I know it was a shutdown on I-35 going in southern Oklahoma at one point. Here's Dallas. You can see a lot of red here on the map. Obviously, that's not good. So you guys are still slow going, but that is Dallas. It's typical. And of course, lots of reports of ice and snow down here as well. And then if you were to click on the little icons down here, you can pull up all of the freeways and the highways and the bridges and stuff to see how they're doing. A little slushy in some areas. There's Camp Bowie. So to kind of give you an idea, you can check all this stuff out on my website, AaronTotalWeather.com. Okay, so what's going on in Dallas? We'll start with you guys. Actually, you know what? Let's just do Oklahoma City first off. This is the balloon sounding from earlier this evening, around 7 o'clock. Now, this is our little freezing line right here. This is this little dash line that goes up like this. We are to the left of that line, which means we have all snow. In other words, we don't have to deal with any rain or sleet or anything like that. What about Fort Worth? Again, there's the blue line we're talking about right there. Let me move that because it's a little thick. And you can see where this nudge of the temperature dew point go to the right of that blue line. We talked about that was going to be a problem today, and that's why you're going to have that mixed bag of precipitation. And as thick as this warm nose is, the thicker it is, the more rain you get, the less it crosses over, you'll get more sleet. If you want to view that in a graphical presentation, take a look at this. This is what we call their winter storm types of precipitation. This is a sleet profile we just showed you. It's where this little nudge kicks over just like that, right? Just a little bit warm. This is on this graphic, it's a vertical line that represents the freezing. On that other one for the skew T, it's a slanted line, but same idea, same principle holds, so you're not confused. But when you're to the right of that line, and if it's a thin area, like what we see, you end up with pretty much sleet as your predominant precipitation type. In other words, it starts as snow, and then it starts to melt, and it forms into sleet. Whereas, if it's much thicker and much deeper, so you have a deeper area of warm layer of air, then it starts off as snow and it melts to basically just a very cold rain. And if it's below freezing, freezing rain again. Now you guys are right at that 30 to 32, so technically it would be a little bit more of freezing rain. So you're kind of in between these two profiles down there in Dallas-Fort Worth. But remember on that radar map I showed you, you got snow coming to Tarrant County in the west side, which means your layer here of warm air is shrinking to this graphic here. And so this is what you're going to get is all snow as we cool that column right here in that lower to mid-level of the atmosphere. So that's what's happening down in North Texas. So if you guys haven't had a whole lot of snow down there, that is the reason why, and that was forecasted very well. So that should not be a surprise to you. Now, I don't know who's saying what down there. I don't know who you follow or who you're listening to. But if you listen to me, you have known. All right, here's a look at the weather warning. So winter storm warning in this little pink color has expanded. Surprise, surprise, across a much larger area than it was initially when it started. This includes Tulsa now on up to the north and east. And that just means because we'll have additional snow overnight that will be measurable. All right, so let's take a look here at how things will plan out. So the radar animation in the model data shows like this. All right, so let's go to our current time frame. So there's our mixed bag of winter precipitation here, and the changeover starting to happen here in the model data showing across Dallas and Fort Worth. Otherwise, snow north of there on into Oklahoma still on the back end as well. So we'll step through this. So there's midnight, and it continues that snow down here in North Texas and Dallas Fort Worth and almost to Tyler. It kind of puts the brakes on, doesn't quite make it that far south. Otherwise, good snows across eastern Oklahoma and Arkansas. Some heavy snow there. Still light snow here across Oklahoma City and back out to the western Oklahoma. Let's go into tomorrow morning. So at drive time, daybreak, when you're out and hitting the roadway, still got some light snow still continuing, a little flurry activity here in North Texas, and also a little batch, one last batch of some light snow here moving through central northern Oklahoma and across eastern Oklahoma. Still having heavy snow there in eastern Arkansas, or in all of Arkansas, really. As we head toward the mid-morning hours, that pretty much moves out of the I-35 corridor, which runs north and south, right about like so. So that means no more snow once we get to probably about 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning, and it's starting to push off to the east of that boundary. So there's Tulsa still getting some lingering light snow and some flurries up through about lunchtime, and then that's it. You're gone. And the snow continues to move now into eastern Arkansas by that point, and then clearing out once you get to Memphis by the late afternoon. And then everything is quiet. Let's see. Let's talk about what do I want to do here? Let's go to snowfall totals. So what is the additional? Let's see. Now this. Let me go to the latest models. Let's go to. There's probably only two that have come out that I can pull up for you. That's going to have the latest. It'll be her and the NAM. All right, and then the Canadian. And we'll take a look at the wrap as well. All right, so the HER. All right, so this is additional snowfall. I have not seen these maps yet, so just hot off the presses. So additional snowfall here for tonight. It's got 2 inches of snow in Oklahoma City, 4.5 in Tulsa and Bartlesville, 3.5. Again, that little heavier batch up here in northwest Oklahoma. But you can see by far and large, the heavier stuff is a sharp gradient. Once you get, here's I-44. So again, from there eastward, it gets quite a bit heavier as you head toward Muskogee, McAllister, another 6-7 inches. Now remember, some of these areas were already at 8 inches. So if you have 8, another 6, that's overflow snow. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of snow. All right, we'll get to Texas here in a second. But anyway, so that was the HER. The NAM, the 3-kilometer NAM, isn't quite so bullish. It has a lot less snow accumulating in central Oklahoma, but still some decent snow for Bartlesville, Tulsa, Muskogee, McAllister, and then points out to the east Again, focused mainly over southeastern Oklahoma. So that's what those two models have. Let's see here. We're going to... Let me do this real quick before I leave that. Let me just see what the blend of models looks like. And the timing on that's for 01. Okay, so the blend of models is also on the lighter side. So another 1 to 2, maybe even 3 inches of snow in parts here around Tulsa for the rest of overnight into tomorrow morning, while as more substantial snowfall again over the southeastern third of Oklahoma, it looks like. All right, let's go eastbound, and we'll go to Arkansas. All right, now you guys just have a lot of snow coming. This is a blend of the models, which is, again, typically a conservative number, just so you know. That's between 6 to 8 inches here overnight, in addition to everything else you've had, pretty much when you run north of Little Rock. South of Little Rock, a sharp gradient. If you want to get into the specific model data, here's the 3-kilometer NAM, which has you up another 10 inches of snow. Let's see, the HER model, also another 9 to 10 inches of snow. That's pretty decent. Did the Icon model come out? It did. Let me see what the Icon says. Similar. So they all say at a minimum. Matter of fact, this right here is the low threshold. In other words, this is the lowest. Everywhere else is going much higher than that. But pick your poison. Another 9 to 10 inches of snow easily, looks like in the data for you guys up there in Arkansas. Okay, let's go down to North Texas. How much more snow are you guys going to get? All right, blend of the models again is on the low side, so about an inch for the Dallas-Fort Worth region, up around 2 inches. Just once you get just outside of town, up to Denton, and then Sherman, there's 2, 3. All right, remember that's the low end. Let's see what the NAM says. There you go. NAM's showing you some love down there in Big D. 4.5 inches in Dallas, Plano 6 inches. There's Paris up around 7. Even some love down here toward Cleburne. Let's go with the HER. HER has the same idea, but it's shifted to the north and west a little bit. So the difference, that axis was here, whereas the NAM axis was here. Obviously, that's a big difference in who's measuring the rulers. But even with this one, you've got 1 to 2 inches on the south side, up around 3 inches here on the north side of the Metroplex. The Icon model kind of has that same look to it, but a little bit less I see there in the data. So there you go, but that's the latest there. So you'll be getting some more snow overnight, and at least it will be accumulating with that. And then let me look at those other two models, which are I have to look at a regional view for those. I'm just curious what they showed. So the Canadian, yeah, let's do the wrap and the Canadian. So there's the wrap, same look, right? And then here's the Canadian. Again, the same look, dipping a little bit further down, 1 to 2 inches south end of the Metroplex and 3 inches on the north side. So there you go. You're going to get an additional 1 to 3 inches down there in Dallas from light to moderate, so from the south to north. In other words, lighter amounts on the south side of town, heavier amounts on the north side of town. And there you go. It's pretty much the same look for pretty much all the models in that deal. If you want to break it down for the National Weather Service, they're also kind of going with the latest trends here in the data. So there's their forecast here for the remainder of tonight into tomorrow morning across west central and central Oklahoma. Eastern Oklahoma, once again, up around another 8 inches possible overnight in this little orange shading, back up to maybe as much as 4 or more in Tulsa. If you go to Arkansas, they are also calling for that 8 to 12 inch zone here across a good chunk of the state, which much lighter amounts here down to the south. And then finally in Dallas-Fort Worth, they also favor that kind of a model blend, so about an inch, possibly 2 on the south side, and then 2 to 4 on the north side, and then much more toward Paris, etc. So there's your breakdown in all of the snow. Temperatures here in Oklahoma City will be in 34 degrees for a high tomorrow. Snow will retard the warm-up, so won't get much above freezing. And then Saturday, we're back to the upper 30s, and then 41 on Sunday, and then we're going to get back possibly to mid-50s by next Thursday, and then maybe we'll cool things back down. There was a couple things that we did want to show you. We talked about this at lunchtime today. So if you are going to be walking about on the snow and ice, make sure you learn how to walk. We call it walk like a penguin. The bottom line is you want to make sure your center of gravity is up and down over your front leg, not split like we normally do with your big long strides, you know. You got your smooth walk. You don't do that because your smooth walk will end up with this busted hip and this broken or sprained wrist. So you don't want to walk like you normally do on ice. You want to walk like a penguin, which means you've got your like your little feet stuck out to the side, and you literally are kind of scooting, right? You're waddling, and that will keep your center of gravity a little bit more forward, smaller steps, and you're basically shuffling, and then that way you'll be all right there. All right, what else we got here for you? I talked about earlier car tips. Obviously, you want to make sure you have a lot of stuff in your car should you get stranded for a while. So flares, warm blankets, ice scraper, first aid kit, a little jumper cable device. You can lithium ion batteries, that you can buy, those little battery packs with little mini cables on them that can jump yourself. Coolant, obviously, make sure that's your engine oil is good, your coolant's good. Let's see, road salt, I guess, flashlight, your cell phone charger. But anyway, so check your windshield wipers, make sure those are good. Obviously, your tires and wheels are good, so you got to be smart about it. But make sure you got that. And then I think the last thing I want to talk about here was how do you measure snow properly. So you do find an open, empty area, so don't go up against buildings and under trees, that kind of deal. You want to be kind of in the middle of your yard or the field. You want to take a couple of measurements and kind of average them together. So get down low enough to where you can get a good view of the snow. If you're looking here, you're probably going to be pretty close to accurate. But if you want to get really super accurate and get down to the 10th or the 8th, then you can get down here and measure on your ruler. And then you can report those on all the social media outlets for the National Weather Service on any of their pages, from Facebook to Twitter X, etc. That'll help you out on how do you measure the snow. And there was anything else I wanted to bring up, or was that it? I'll tell you what, just for fun, let's do this. I just want to see how the models are handling your changeover down there in Dallas. Remember, here's our warm nose right here. This is the 0 degree line. It goes 32 degrees up and down. 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. All right, let's go here with time. Let's see what happens. So there's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So there you go. So even this model is a little behind the curve. In other words, it had the changeover a little late, but it does get you there, and it keeps you there all night. So that's good. And as a result of that, you get some pretty decent snows. This is just a pinpoint forecast for DFW, and it's got about 4 inches of snow there at that spot. And if you were to look at the model data itself, let me do something like this. I'll spread it out. There we go, so we can see it better. What you have here, draw this for you. This is, get off of there. Try this again. There's our snow growth layer. This is where we're making the snow in the atmosphere. All right, this is around between 15 and 20,000 feet. If you can see that there on the scale, right? It's 15 and 20,000 feet. You have all the little red circles. This is a mega, so we call lift in the atmosphere. You even have some lift down here, not in the snow growth layer, but you have it mainly where it matters. Okay, so that's check number 2. So that's good. And of course you have the green all over this area, which is basically all the moisture. So that's the third thing. So all those are overlaid, and that's really good. In other words, it's a good snow-making profile and a vertical cross-section of the atmosphere. And so as a result, then in each of these little time columns, you get snow that's generated, and when you add them all up, you get this little white line right here. And that white line corresponds to this chart right here, which is a 4, which stands for 4 inches of snow. So that's with the high-resolution NAM model down there. Let me see if the HER was much different. And it also has about 3 inches of snow, 2.5 to 3. So very similar, but also has much more elongated lift, a lot more of these little red areas circulating. But otherwise, a good look to the atmosphere. So in other words, it's a good storm system for you guys. And let me see, its changeover was supposed to happen right now, 10 o'clock. So we are at the 10 o'clock changeover magic down there in Big D. Let's go take a look. Let's see how close to reality it is. Now that was a forecast point for DFW. Okay, so right here. And if you look, what is this? That's our blue line, changeover line. It's not bad. Model did pretty good, both of them. All right, and you see these reports. This is all for snow. So there you go. So it is snowing here on Fort Worth. And still got your kind of a cold rain here, so a little bit of a freezing rain, sleet mix / just regular rainfall mix with temperatures right around or above freezing. If it's 33, actually, if it's 32.1, and greater, it's just cold rain. If it's 32.0, technically it's freezing rain. If it's obviously less than 32, you get freezing rain unless it's cold enough and you can get some snow. And then you can get sleet pretty much in any of these temperatures here. It doesn't really matter for that. But watch some bridges and overpasses down there, regardless, after hitting the roadways. Okay, I think that was it. Did I get everything? I think I did. All right, well, that's it for me. I hope all that was very, very helpful. At any point in time, again, you can track winter storms on my free weather app. It's called AT's Weather to Go. You can get it on Apple or Google Play. It's been out since 2014. And it has a lot of these functions on there. Power outages, that's the one thing I did not look for. Let me load that up here real quick and see if that is an issue. You can get power outages on my website, or on my on my website, but you can also get it on my weather app. There is a tab for that as well, so you can see if there's any problems there. So here's a quick look at Power Outage US. And we'll just check and look. And so, yeah, there really wasn't much, just up here, the northeastern tip of the state. And that's good. So I didn't really expect much because the icing accumulation would be very light, and we really weren't getting much wind with this system. So the only thing left then would be some of the heavier snow. And that can still happen. You might get some heavier bands of snow in this little sweet spot here for southeast Oklahoma and western central Arkansas. That probably might cause a brief or a few sporadic power outages overnight into tomorrow morning. You can get that heavy wet snow that can accumulate on the power lines, so that can be an issue. But regardless, there you go. That's we'll help you out with that as well. And then, as always, thanks for your support. Many of you have become fan subscribers through many of the platforms, whether it was Patreon, I think Facebook fan subscriptions. Those were the big ones, and then now other platforms have come on and you can join. So YouTube did that as well. And then I think the other ones are, either if they have them, they're coming out with them or whatever. So, and they have different ways to support your content creators. So I think on TikTok you send diamonds or something. I got to keep up with all this stuff. You can set stars on Facebook, and then I don't know. There's a lot, anything. Every platform's got something you can use, so you can support the people that you like to follow online. Let me think. Anything else? I think that's about it. Only thing I would warn you on, if you are new here, so I'm a meteorologist, so I'm a degree from way back, and so I'm calm, cool, collected. I don't hype anything. I'm not a guy that oversells something. I tell you basically like it is straight. I will tell you, in the social media world, it is a mess, as in there are so many grifters, and there are so many people that copy other people, steal their stuff, and then just make stuff up, and they're all trying to make a buck, because it's all about views, clicks, all that kind of stuff, right? Because the algorithms are rewarded all the bizarre, crazy behavior. So that works in weather. It works very well because it preys on your brain, and so obviously the more outlandish, more hype that there is, the more that you're going to be tuned in to watch. It's just how your brain is wired. Now, the person that's doing that, obviously they don't care. They want to make the money. And it's frustrating because for me, as the actual legit scientist, I get frustrated with that. I'm just like, man, whatever. So I can't think about it because then it just upsets me. But because then I have to answer all these questions, right? Well, this clown is saying this and that clown is saying that. Well, so we'll quit watching the clowns. That would be my answer. But it's just not going to happen. So I just basically ignore all that stuff, and I don't know who says what, and I don't have time for it, and I don't care. I just know that every now and then I get a glimpse because I'm on all the platforms, and they show up in my feeds and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it's just everyone's trying to outdo the other. So just keep that in mind. The whole point of that was to tell you to keep all that in mind when you're looking at weather posts, when you're looking at weather model data forecasts, when you're looking at snow maps, when you're looking at all that stuff. Your first thing you automatically go for is grifter, all right, getting paid. Once you run through those two filters, then you can now reduce, whatever it was you're seeing by half, and then know that it might not even happen. Like, it might even go that far. Weather was usually a internal thing that was kept, quiet within our own select group. Only we saw the data, only we had access, only we had to interpret it. But now anybody can get access to it. It's all over the place, and anybody can share maps. Anybody who loves weather can post stuff. And so it is a total free-for-all. And I don't know where this industry is going with that. All I can do is what I do, is what I've been doing for years. I've been doing this since the early 90s. So I'll tell you like it is, and I'll tell you what's going to happen, and then I'll get as detailed for you as I can, and all that. We'll get down to the weeds on the science, and I'll teach you stuff, a little meteorology 101. So if you're new, that's the platform. So welcome. That's what AT's weather is all about. Where did AT come from? That's just my initials, Aaron Tuttle. How it came from, because my coworker back when I worked in TV world on the morning show for news, Tyler Suiters, for whatever reason, I think he got tired of saying my full name in the mornings, and it's 5 o'clock, when you're doing those shows. So he just shortened it to AT, and it just stuck. And then from there, that was it. So it was a nickname that just stuck with me. And so that's the hint of AT's weather and AT's weather to go, the weather app. That's just my weather on the go, right? So on your mobile. And so that's kind of a little short background, kind of a little bit about me and what I'm doing and why I'm here and all that kind of stuff. And I started doing all the social media landscape back before it was even a thing. So in other words, when everything was new, I was posting weather on Facebook 2010. And then when the video came out to do live 2014 for Facebook, and then ended up being YouTube. So I was doing lives on that, and there was no money to be made. I wasn't doing it for the money. I was just doing it just to help people, because that's what I do for a living, right? I just enjoy it. So it wasn't for the grifting, it wasn't for the big hype, and it wasn't for the dollars. So it was for the love. It was for the love of you people, and it was for the love of the weather. That's not the field that it is now. I'm still one of the old dinosaurs, the dying, breed of what's there for the passion, but I'm getting older and I'm getting tired and I got other things to do. So, how much longer I do this, I don't know. But for right now, we're still doing it, and it's been a good run. Let's see, we're 2025 is still going. So I pretty much mastered most of the platforms here on social media, and we'll add more to it as they come along. And at first, I didn't get on TikTok because there was all the rumors that they were going to shut TikTok down. It was, communist, China garbage, blah, blah, blah. And so I didn't really want to put much into that, obviously, and build that up if it was just going to be taken from me. Ain't nobody got time to put all a bunch of work in and then have it removed, right? And then I got smart finally. My wife was like, you need to get up on TikTok. And the other thing I noticed is that politicians that were talking out of one side of their mouth, how they got to get rid of it, it's the worst thing in the world, they were all using it to reach the audience. That's right. Of the 18 to 25. And so once you realize that they're not going to throw away anything that they can reach that voting block from, you finally goes, typical politicians, they lie to both sides of their mouth. So TikTok's not going anywhere. No matter what they say, no matter what news reports come out, that's all garbage. It's here to stay, and they're going to use it to reach all of you on it. And they're going to reach the boomers on Facebook. They're going to reach the Z's and millennials on TikTok. They're going to reach everyone else in between. And wherever they move to the next platform, guess what? They're going to use that one too. Cat's out of the bag, so you can't undo it. As far as weather goes, that'll be pretty much on every platform. Some are heavier than others. For me, I try to do them all. I've got it to where I can broadcast all at the same time here from my office. I don't use a restream service. For me to do a restream service is very expensive if you're trying to do that. So I just built my own computer, and then I hacked my graphics card so that I can broadcast as many outlets as I want. So that's kind of how I figured that out back in the 2014 on era, because I had to figure out a way to do this. Nobody else was doing it, and I was the first, so I had to figure it out, and so I'm still doing it that way, and I'm still planning to do it that way. The only thing I think when I do go live, like my lunch breaks from my phone, like in the car, that I can't do multiple streams at once. That would require a restream service, unless I can figure something out mobile-wise. I might tinker with that. I don't know. I'm busy. I got other things to do. But once we get through winter weather season, I do cover tornadoes for Oklahoma and surrounding areas, and it's a different type of tornado coverage. I take the stance where tornadoes themselves are already something enough to get your anxiety levels up, so you don't need someone talking about them to add to that. And that is where the grifters come into play. That's where the hype people come into play. A lot of the TV stations fall into that. And part of it's not their fault. Some of it, the on-air talent, the news directors, they tell them, how high can you jump? We'll jump higher. And if you're not excited enough, get more excited, or I'll find somebody who will. So there's a lot of pressure sometimes in there to be a little over-exaggerated. And then sometimes you just have a bunch of idiots in that business. They don't know what they're talking about, and they just make stuff up. So you got it's a wide range out there. But for me, I'll track the tornadoes. We'll tell you why they're forming, why they won't form, their exact location, time of arrival, and I'll leave all the other nonsense out. That way you're safe, and I calm you down, and I cool your jets, and I lower your anxiety, and then you can almost probably go to sleep with my live tornado coverage. Which is an interesting thing. You got a tornado barreling down your area and you're half asleep because I've lulled you that way. That's a pretty good trick there. Anyway, all right. So anyways, that's just a little bit about me going into the spring. If you hang around, if you're new to AT's Weatherlings platforms, kind of give you a heads up of what's coming down the road. So that's about it. All right. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you on the next broadcast. Enjoy the snow. I'd like to see some more measurements tomorrow. Hopefully, guys will get a few more inches, and we'll just see what the next one has in store. I haven't looked at anything long term. I've been too busy on the short term here, but we'll see what happens. About another week, 10 days, somewhere in there, there's another snow signal. So we'll see what happens across Oklahoma and Texas. Maybe another round for Dallas. We'll see what happens. All right, take care, everybody. Good night.